Time check. 8 minutes. 8 minutes to pull. 5 minutes to live. 5 minutes to live. Where are my sunglasses? Good morning. Oh, brilliant. There are good people in the world.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
July from Nottingham, England. The World Flying Disc Federation's World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. Live all-access coverage, including semis and finals, exclusively at ULTIWorld.com.
sunshine on my shoulders. I'm alive and I'm breathing, living my best life. Love is on my mind and it's making me high.
Where else would you rather be on a Saturday morning than here on the beach in Royan, France? You can't be! But we are bringing you the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships 2023 myself, Hannah Penderbury, alongside the inimitable Stefan Pazzo, even though we tried to imitate you occasionally on the mic. We have women's division action in front of us, Stefan, and what a match this is going to be, both with a 2-1 record. It is E6 versus Yaka.
What a way to kick off the day. Day 2 action. We've got women's champs from last year's version of EBUCC 2022 here on the beach. That's E6. We've got champions in many, many other regards. Yaka, they just won their French national championship on the outdoor scene last week from Orvaux. They won the Elite Invite not long before that. This team, a little bit different. One of the key differences for this year's version of Yaka, this is beach version, is you'll notice it's almost an entirely French team, which Yaka has a reputation for having a handful of international pickups. You look across to the Swedish team, and they are, of course, a very Swedish rendition of themselves, as they more traditionally are, as they always are. This team matches up well. As Hannah said, 4 teams at the top of this division have all gone 2-1, beating each other, wins. No team has really been able to put their foot down on this pool, and that makes this game a very important one. Very probably, but not certainly, but very probably a game that will dictate the pool winner going into the bracket round that is upcoming.
Well, and to sort of, state the categorically obvious, one of the advantages that the Swedes have is the fact that they are just a bit of a taller roster, and on sand, not only does that allow you an advantage in the air, we do have a bit of a breeze. It's changed direction for today. Yesterday it was left to right on our screens, now it's right to left, and of course those sort of bleachers behind us on the far side of the pitch sheltering us from the sea wind, but kind of creating some interesting sort of swirling affairs here on the show pitch. And I think probably I'd favour perhaps E6 off the back of that. They do have the pedigree, as we say, winning the last European Beach Ultimate Club Championships in Portimao last season, and a couple of their players also doing the double on beach and appearing at the Great Grand Masters Championships, which also happened last year in Portugal.
Very exciting stuff. Of course, there are advantages for Yaka too, that being one of them right there. Aman Babikian, I think in many people's eyes, the breakout player of the year already. Okay, there's plenty of year to go, but geez, she has been a shining star. Every tournament, I go back to just last week, if you watched the French Championship, the Universe Point D that she got to give them back the disc, the layout D, goodness gracious, this girl knows how to fly, and we expect big things from her. So maybe she can be the difference maker to neutralize this evident advantage that E6 would have otherwise. A couple standout performances could really neutralize any set advantage, and for that and many other reasons, we're very excited to get going into this one.
Well, a bit of an advantage that the French do have over their opponents is the fact that they have a couple of extra pairs of legs. It's rather a short roster for E6. Not quite the minimum requirement of just the 10 individuals coming out here. Of course, I really like to see a roster minimum, especially a European Championship. Make sure that the players on the pitch stay in fine fettle, because it is a long old season. And of course, notable absences from the core French side of Yaka are those players that are, kind of doing a little bit of leg management across, of course, this very busy year. Many players on both sides of the pitch will be appearing at the European Championships in Limerick later this season, and we will be bringing you, of course, live coverage from that event.
Of course, 2 of the most notable absences on the Yaka side are actually in attendance as coaches, both in form but taking breaks, well-deserved breaks in a season like this. Both happy to be here on the beach. That is Aline Mondiaux, who we know very well as Rasta, and the other one who's known better by her nickname as well is Anne Lebon, who goes by Nanu. Those two both here operating the sidelines, running the lines, being the coaching voices for Yaka, as they always are, whether cleated up or not. So those are the 2 most notable absences, you could say, but they're here for the spiritual guidance, for the tactical guidance, and to see if they can just give that little bit extra to push their team over the line.
Absolutely. And to do a little bit of a shout out actually for the sticker that you've got on your water bottle. Play Coach Grow, Montiel did a fantastic sort of presentation on line management, so a wise person to have on your sideline for sure. But E6 getting us underway with disc in hand. Grillenquist shooting up to Kiki Yellison, who, if you recall from last year's final, had a fantastic splits move. Had a little bit of a pull to her hamstring, which she's been working on, but an overshot, not connecting with Maya Aurora Johnson. And the first turnover early doors. So surveying the field. Yaka. But a first throw turnover, trying to connect with Melanie Elbeck. But the disc straight back in Swedish hands. Koa Hageby. Lindqvist has line shots available, but takes the swing. Eliasson with a bit of fancy footwork. And there we go, first point on the board for E6, but both teams with an opportunity.
Both teams with an opportunity there. A couple early turns, getting the jitters out perhaps. Nothing too clean about that. Even on the last throw, I thought it was overshot a little bit. They're feeling out the weather, feeling out the surface, as well as feeling out each other as opponents. But in the end, the eventual hold for the Swedes, E6, pop onto the scoreboard there. There's the other look, even with the nice toe drag into splits, or into deep lunge, we'll say, for the eventual score there, Hanny.
That's classic Kiki right there. Eliasson is really one of those players that's going to put her body on the line for her team, and does so quite frequently out here on our streamed games. But manages to have very few injuries. So Yaka's O-line coming out, Girard putting it forward to Binard. The two players actually have changed shirts with each other. Delaunay. Some fantastic red glitter on the cheek, but again, it's a throwing error. Mathilde Mercier can't do anything to regain the possession, even though she makes a fabulous bid. So, nice shot upfield to Lindroth. Former Eurostar, of course, Maya Lindroth. Played in the 2019 season. Won around to Sara Lindqvist. Yeah, Alvin to Lindroth. Two players available coming through. Stina Tim, of course. It's just a pick.
Yep, pick called. Double bicep flex as per usual to let us know.
Things looking a little bit crunchy for E6. They try and find themselves some space. That's going to be a leading pass. Opportunity for the defense, but well held. And the shot straight into the end zone for Lindroth. That's a nice bit of work there. Alvin with the throw after some good boxing.
Yeah, good boxing. They took care of it there. I think it was mostly patience. I felt like they were a little bit crowded throughout their counter attack there. But they maintained their patience. They allowed the cuts a couple extra seconds to develop, because there was a few extra trying to get in the way each time. I think they were all kind of trying to cut at the same time, all trying to be that first option. But they waited it out. They maintained their patience. They didn't throw to those double options, and ended up walking one in for a goal there. 2-0 with the first break on the board for E6.
So things arguably a little bit scrappy for the defending champions here, but a decent start, whereas I think at the moment Yaka just needs to get their head screwed on. But off we go with this one underway. Herbe finding Babikian, not a player who you're going to see miss many discs. That one's low though and tipples out of the hands of Cécile Meunier. Alvin around to Jessen. Eliasson forward. Oh, that one's again a little bit loose, but not a problem. Alvin through to Lindroth. Eliasson available. Has the streaking up line cut that bounces across. Doesn't like the look of the break, does Kiki Eliasson. Lindqvist. Alvin now, again, this is really great work on the forces from Yaka. Very dynamic squeeze up that sideline. Susanna Hovgaard coming under. Lindroth now opening up the legs. High grab, an immediate pop to Eliasson on that front corner. And that, again, Much smoother offense in terms of the execution from E6, but that was really great defensive pressure.
Yeah, great defensive pressure again. I mean, it came. The turn came on the hands of a drop on a couple layouts. Babi Ken managed to hang on. Muniz bounced off the hand into turf, and then it was another show. There's like Babi Ken throwing herself around, begging to try and get that one back. But the Swedes this time really were taking care of their throws, putting them out in front in a place where only black-shirted receivers could get their hands on it. It was probably the tidiest bit of conversion offense we've seen thus far in the game. Obviously very early in this game, only 3 points in, but the Swedes looking the goods in these early stages. And we're talking all to start this game all game long for the first 7 minutes about how there was a little bit of stop-startiness, a little bit of clogginess, and well, that possession there for E6, that was very smooth, flowing conversion. Yaka, I mean, you see Chanina put up a bit of a haymaker there, throwing it up into space, way too much space, but options were just really being taken away. But here they come again, Yaka. Let's see if they can steady this ship.
I think they might have put themselves in too much of a peachy hole at the moment. It's going to take a lot of buckets and spades to bail themselves out. But it starts with this first point. Bucket now coming underneath. It's putting a little bit of tape on that electric, but it right car.
Ooh. That is a tough one. It's same as what you said with Chanina's last throw. She was throwing her open. Just a little bit of a hesitation on the first step to get going. I thought that was the right throw to score, but it didn't get there. The intended receiver just a little bit slow to get that first step and could never catch up to the outside in floater.
learning. I think at one point E6 had 4 on their squad, but there we go. A turnover is finally generated by Yaka's defensive pressure.
Ooh.
Try and step up to the stature of the Swedes. Janina is dynamic in the air.
Yes, she's one that could get that job done, win a couple of those battles. That throw from Babi Ken, just a bit too much on it, and that's a bit of the tail of the tape so far for Yaka. They've just been slightly imprecise too many times. Touchy-feely, not allowed. Not in this part of the game anyways.
Save that for the spirits there. Or perhaps a party later on in the tournament. Of course, it's fantastic to be on beach. Really great atmosphere here in Royan, especially today with the sun already emerging.
Without cracking lightning in every corner of the sea that you look. Yesterday's light show was incredible, but incredibly worrying for a little bit to wonder what was going to happen with the tournament. And of course, a wonderful job by tournament organization to kind of like push things off as little as possible, just enough to get things back going. No rounds missed after an hour and a half delay yesterday. Great job to keep things going.
Absolutely. I believe you were pivotal in that reorganization. So E6 on the charge. After that contested foul. Oh, and look at the space found. Susanna Hofgaard sneaking away from her mark and claiming the goal.
And sneaking away from the mark, but it still needs a finish. And the throw from Sandra Lindqvist was just perfect. Spotted right away, no mark on. So these are those easy throws that, like, yes, of course that should work. But you know what? Sometimes when they're so easy, you get a little bit, you feel a little bit of the pressure, and oh God, I just don't miss this one. Well, none of that was going through her head. She was on autopilot and threw the perfect throw, laid it up there, nice and easy to clamp down on. 2 hands on it, safe as houses, and E6 up big time right now, 5-0 in the early quarters of this game.
Well, as I believe, is that a French timeout or are Yaka just hustling together on the pitch? I think it's a timeout. So we're going to take a brief break here in the booth, but we'll be back with more of this game after these messages.
For the first time ever, from the golden sandy blankets of Portimao, Portugal, BULA and ULTI.TV bring you the World Beach Ultimate Club Championship 2024. The best club teams in the world will converge on the Portuguese Algarve. With expectations for upwards of 150 teams, this promises to be a tournament worth bucket listing. Whether on the sands or watching the action from your screen, WBUCC 2024 is a tournament not to be missed.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
The inimitable words of, turn your mic on, Hannah. We're having a ball this morning. Unfortunately, Yaka not quite able to
join the party.
Yeah, they're just not executing today, and maybe they didn't have quite enough breakfast this morning. We know that the E6 side are staying in the same hotel as us, but a stone's throw, a hucking distance, if you will, from the beaches here in Royan. And I have to say, we've actually got the staff in our hotel, Stefan, excited to watch Ultimate. They saw me yesterday on watching the live stream as I was sort of having a bit of a lay-in, and yeah, they're very excited to be here, as are we. We will be. I'll be asking your quick opinion though, Stefan, in a minute of how you think Yaka should bring it back. But let's see if they can pop this one in. Binard. Nice one forward, well held. We've seen a couple of sand strips for Yaka so far, but this is much better form. Janina with another racy, expansive throw. Can it be run down? No, just falls out of the pitch. Not quite that roll curve required to reach Emma Delaunay.
So another turnover for Yaka. Whatever I might suggest, it was not what they were deploying there, but not far off, in fact. I mean, for me, to counter a bigger team like this, when you've tried cutting from the stack, I would deploy a big space, isolate your handlers, and have a little bit of a dominator for a couple of your attacks and see how that goes. But yeah, and first things first is get your offense going. But they do get the disc back here, and now they've got an end zone set. Let's see what they come up with.
Absolutely. Well, it does seem to be a kind of creative way to try and make more space. They're going to squeeze it though to that side where the stack was, and just put the point finally on the board by finding Olga Chinina in the end zone.
Yeah, Emma Delaunay there was saying, no more messing around here. I'm firing a big lungy backhand across and putting a whole lot of mustard on that one. Probably some French Dijon mustard, but you'll get another look here on the pickup, and just, one look, one shot, and zips one into the spot. Even with the bid there, that was a perfectly placed disc. Maya Lindroth, heck of an effort, but the throw was that good that even that kind of layout bid couldn't do it. And there's Coach Rasta saying, see, listen to me and it'll work. We got a goal.
Absolutely. Well, wise words coming from that sideline. I think it is the thing of, at the moment, Yaka haven't been making poor choices. Their selections of who they're throwing to have been good. I think it's just that case of, maybe putting too many grass throws out, not quite putting the range that you need to for beach, that little bit of extra loft, because they're having to make incredible bids. But at the moment, with 5 points of breathing room, E6 putting a big one, Anderson underneath it, but just lets it trail into the golden sands. I can't help but think that maybe Harriet Anderson sort of just let that one go, Stefan.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there was some, that one not looking good. I think there's a little bit of reality there as well. Okay, I'm going to let it go because even my best effort, I know, ain't going to get there.
Woo! Well,
that, on the other hand.
Absolutely. Kiki Eliasson is the chosen target for E6 for their 6th point of this match, and that was a bit of a risky biscuit, Stefan.
Yeah, a bit of a risky biscuit thrown into traffic, but a whole bunch of faith in their connections, a whole bunch of faith in her receiver, and a whole bunch of faith put into Eriksson, who comes down with the score for E6 as they mount their lead back to 5-6-1, and they are approaching half. Here's another look at it. She got herself pretty twisted up there, in fact, coming down to ground.
Well, we would need to see Eliasson be a bit more conservative with her body. Obviously came off earlier in the game to the injury, sort of, massaging her shoulders. She's been getting some attention from the person that must be their sort of team physio. But Yaka Delaunay picking up the disc. Kathy Afonso looking at that inside break channel, but has a completely free Binal in front. Lindqvist trying to get a little bit hungry. Going over the top of Lindqvist is a terrible idea. And it's an aerial attack to immediately deny that point.
Yeah, Maya Lindrath making sure that that idea turned very terrible.
Again, sort of taking that downwind shot and it sort of being pushed into the hands of the defense. That's an ambitious one. Afonso didn't quite know it was coming. Maybe a lack of communication from the sideline, not allowing her to make that deed. That's a beautiful diss, though. Lindroth just trotting her way into the deep space and claiming another goal for the Swedes. And that is half, 7-1, a commanding performance, Stefan.
Commanding performance indeed. The Alwyn there, the 13 shirt that threw that assist. I think I want to give her credit for the catch as well. That throw was up and floaty and behind. Here it is. And she did really well to kind of stop, recoil, get her arms up, and then deliver, the laser down the sideline for the goal. But made it look easy, but in the sand, recollecting her feet like that, backing up and still getting the arms up in full balance to make that catch. One of those things that made to look easier than it really is.
Alwyn, formerly Maria, but she goes by Ia. So I think when she started playing, there were 3 years on her team. But shots there of Lindroth, as we already mentioned, the Eurostar from 2019. But Yaka at the moment, Stefan, if you were in their huddle, what would your sage words of wisdom be?
Geez, it's tough at this stage. 7-1. I mean, you want to carry the calm ship as much as possible and say that, guys, this is about calmness. Okay, what kind of tactical difference can we do? Sure, I said a little bit of a dominator, said a bit of separation, try and use our speed to outdo their power, make sure that we can still use a short game without having to worry about their unders taking away everything from upfield. Let's use our handler space to do this. But then I'd really let's stay calm. Let's just breathe. Let's play 1 point at a time, 1 pass at a time, 1 decision at a time. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think when that fails, then you start flipping tables and kicking water bottles. But that's really in desperation. And right now that's not this stage in the tournament, this stage of the game. They're not there. They do got to maintain their composure right now.
Absolutely, and the tussle at the top of this pool kind of suggests that we are going to see Yaka in quarterfinals, but obviously your positioning is all about getting yourself that easier ride into the big show later on in the tournament. Be now looking around for options, and clutch grab from Delaunay coming through and making a hero of herself. Janina probably going to be a pick there. No, she just literally just muscled her way through. The power of Olga Janina.
So Delaunay to Chanina, that's accounted for all of the goals for Yaka at this stage of the game. Delaunay, what a pickup there before she threw the assist. No conservation of greatness, perpetuation of greatness, in fact, where she makes this beautiful bid, hits the sand, gets a mouthful to go with it. If you look at that sand explosion, and then nice and calmly throws to the very open Chanina, who managed to get there without a pick. I'm not sure how. 1 lost assignment there.
I think probably that idea of maybe the defender was a little bit flat-footed. But I think at the moment with Yaka, it's got to be about also a little bit more awareness. They've had some real moments of sparkling creativity with the shots that they've taken. And perhaps, players that are not active in their own minds in that moment of kind of being involved in the offense seem to be a little bit more on their toes. And they've missed some defensive opportunities as well. But at the moment, the Swedes looking in fine fettle. Pop through to Heidelberg. Annika Lindqvist has Andersson completely free. Big poach off from Delaunay. I don't mind it. This is good sort of, cotton wool around the defense. But there's a pick in the center of the field. Mathilde Mercier with both of her arms up to get to the gun show here at the beach.
It's the right place for it. Get the guns out on the beach.
Which way to the beach? Where do you point? Because we're already on it.
Yeah, you can point almost any which direction except backwards at this stage. But we are in there's a bay here. It's a winding kind of coastline because it comes into a river mouth. So there really is beach in almost every direction around here. It's fantastic.
Huckabee with the poach over the top. Eliasson put her arms out. Where is everybody? Great verbal support from Andio on the sideline, but that is going to be a nice one over the shoulder. Kiki Eliasson just puts a little bit of a nitrous injection in the legs and powers through for another score. 8-2 now the lead for E6, and the defending champions are looking in much better form than they were against Bordeaux Ultimate, Stefan.
Bordeaux Ultimate really turning some heads in both divisions, to be honest. We'll talk about the women first, who are, you know, topping the division, or again tied for the topping here. But Bordeaux Ultimate went tit for tat against E6 here and managed to stay atop. You know, you're looking down that Bordeaux roster, you see a couple of big names, but there's a lot of role players there. There's a lot that are just putting in, you know, the top of the list I see right now, Coralie Fouquet, she was a World Games player. Florence Caraul, another World Games player. And then from there, yes, there are some names we noticed, but there's a lot of people that are just grinding out there for Bordeaux and putting them into this conversation. Maybe they want to be the top French team here on the beach.
Well, they did have a 13-9 loss to Yaka, who clearly had some better form in their earlier pool games yesterday. But at the moment, they're having to pull themselves up by their own sort of bootstraps, as it were. That's a great little game of pinball for one for Delaunay. I'll say Meunier. Okay. Nice movement through. Taking silent options, and there we go. We talk about awareness. That's fantastic find to Julie Binal.
What a throw. Great. I mean, of course, awareness, it comes from vision before it can even be considered a great throw. To be able to see that, to be able to get the shoulder shimmy and open up a little hole underneath the left arm of the defender there, and then throw that strike. A beautiful piece of throwing work there for Yaka to get that goal.
Well, we've got some love in the chat, Stefan, and we are delighted to have all of you alongside us this morning. But a shout out for Harriet Anderson, who's still got it. I have to say, she's been playing for 31 years, Stefan.
Well, you know where that shout out's coming from as well, John Greenfield. So he wants to be the first 60-year-old to play Division 1 Nationals in Australia, and I think he's got 2 years to go, and he's still playing Div 1. Newcastle I-Beam, John Greenfield, another living legend here. Glad to have him watching.
Absolutely, and just going to show that actually you don't have to age out into any Masters divisions. You can keep muscling through, but muscling through on that one, Mathilde Lemercier with a fantastic block. This is the kind of energy Yaka are going to need. Chanina going into the deep space, and that's a clutch for sure. A break at long last for Yaka. 8-4, but can they start the train now?
Is that another Delaunay to Chanina as well? That is 3 of their 4 goals have been that exact combination. So there is one thing that is really working for Yaka right now. That is a connection that they can count on. Can they get a few more of these parts clicking? Can they get the D-line firing? There they take advantage of a D and get the conversion. But can they really start slowing down these Swedes, getting in front? I mean, you know, we talk about the Swedes being the bigger team. They have not, yes, they've thrown some deeps, yes, but they haven't been just powering themselves with opening up the deep game here. I think as well, Yaka can really stand to like force them to go deep for a couple possessions in a row right now. I would really focus on taking away the under and say, all right, if they beat us deep, that's what we're going to give them, but let's really make them have to do that right from throw 1.
Well, especially as the Swedes are now shooting into the wind, as you say, putting that pressure and allowing the elements to give you an extra edge. Coming underneath, it's Hofka. Good lead. A little bit of a low catch required for Hagabit. That easily finds Andersson. Good movement in the handler space, shut down, and there you go. As you see, Stefan, they did exactly what you said they should, try and pressure the deep. Eventually, Susanna Hofgaard running into the deep space alongside a fellow E6 player. 2 options available with no defenders in sight.
Well, it's kind of what I said leave the deep and see if they go to it, and they went to it. So now they got to change again. Yes, they actually, not one under came in that point. All of their throws up until that deep were up lines or crossing routes from the handling space. They didn't let anyone come from the stack to take it under. And then, okay, the deep was open, they took it. Now, can we change it up? Can we play no-ins in our half and then take away the deeps when they get to the midfield line? I think right now they've got to just give them variation. They got to make sure that they get set with nothing. I do not like a zone right now. I don't generally like 5-player zones at all unless there are howling conditions.
I have an exception to that rule. I really like 5-person zone with no mark. What my old team used to refer to as Mazel Tov, because it can cause, in terms of changing that defense up, you'd be surprised how many, even elite players, make mistakes when they don't have somebody up in their face, that same rhythm. But this is a really good rhythm of offense from Yaka. Is it going to be able to be run down? The bid doesn't come, because it's, again, a little bit of a miscommunication. Melanie Herbe trying to run that one down.
But the throw from Lacaille, just a bit too much on it. I like the look. There was 2 options there, 2 Yaka receivers out behind, but had to have a bit more shape on it and just not enough mustard.
Well, lovely shaping on that throw. Lindroot makes a little bit of a late bid on that one. Difficult to read that same third huck. And Yaka with the full stretch to go, but looking a little bit better as this game does develop. Taken away that far sideline, Ia Alvin. Denying the throw. Oh, that's a lusty flick. The way that one flew. We've switched out to a white disc here on the show pitch rather than the fetching pink. And you can see the logo on that one just flustering through for that final score. 10-4. Not, of course, the end of this game. We are 45 minutes of regulation clock available and 10-4. Charging towards that overall 13-point cap.
10-4 CB radio talk over and out, as they say. Dukes of Hazzard fans, 10-4 there, little fat buddy, is how she goes. But that throw, beautiful on the point. When they got a short field, there was no messing around by the 13 shirt of Alwyn and put a nice arcing rainbow right into the pot of gold there.
Yeah, nice catch for Salin. I tell you what, that had a lot of edge on it, that disc. Difficult one to catch on the downwind. Shanina's going to put one up, not on a piece of string, though, shooting downwind. That needed to be a lot of a higher release with touch. Amon Babican is a rapid athlete who we know does not like to lose. In fact, at the Elite Invite, she got herself confused and thought that Yaka had lost a match that they'd actually won. That's how much she wants to win.
That's how head in the game she is. I don't care about the score. I've got a job to do. I'm just going to do my job. What happened? What happened? Are we winning? Are we losing? I don't care. I just do my job.
We love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. But at the moment, Stina Tim fielding that loose disc. It's looking very much in the hands of the Swedish side. That one a little bit. Oh, well, there we go. Amon Babican with the rip down defense. A little bit low there, but good bid from Le Mercier to keep possession alive. Trying to activate Delaunay. Been the only distributor to speak of apart from that one assist for Binal. Shanina. Surveying around. Oh, look at that throw. That's lovely. And a little bit of toe work at the back of the end zone for Amon Babican. And 10-5 the score.
So Olga Chanina can be part of scoring options on the throwing end too. Babican getting herself involved there, and after a couple turnovers in that point, Yaka take advantage of the short field. Le Mercier looked a little bit turned around there, a bit of a high stall count at the start of this, but she maintained her cool, got it off to Delaunay, and then from there it was all too easy. A couple open open looks. That one over the defender. And really well done. I mean, it's easy in theory for E6 to be able to commit to playing the unders. They know they've got maybe not the catch-up speed, but people don't want to throw over them. They've got this general fear like, okay, they've got the height mismatch on us across the board. They can play the unders with a little bit more security, a bit more of a sense of, okay, if we take away the unders, they're not even going to want to go deep, and if it floats, we chase. But on a short field to go around the player, a little less risk there. Just make sure you get enough around to go past a tall player.
Well, at the moment, with that 5-0 lead that they took early doors, E6 sitting pretty. And that's a lovely one over the top. Good reactions there from Andersson. She looks for a target in the end zone. Things a little bit delayed. Forced into an option over the top. But look at the awareness on that. Easy rundown for Annika Lindqvist.
Yeah, easy rundown by Lindqvist. A little bit of a high stall count. A little bit of a, close to panic. Oh, geez, my options are closed. I'm tight in the corner here near the sideline, but maintained her cool, put one out in front, had just enough float on it, and again made to look easy there in the end for the throw, well, for Lindqvist.
Yeah, the throw there from Andersson, a concept promoted by trade. She's very good at making individuals look good. And that one was a really lovely reception for E6. If you, though, Stefan, if we cover our stats board for that 5-0 lead at the beginning of the game, this one is actually relatively well matched. If we sort of said that the first points didn't matter, which of course they do, at the moment, it would only be one nose in front, that extra break for E6 once Yaka managed to sort of settle themselves into this match. So hopefully we'll see Yaka do bigger things in the championship bracket in this tournament, because they are looking like they will have an opportunity in quarterfinals. But at the moment, it's just, can they bring something special to the defense after this point? Dupuy with the disc. Oh, but the hand block from Maya Lindroth, the young architect, who says hello to her mum, who's her biggest fan at home. We've got lots of youngsters as well for E6, the future of Ultimate, that will shout out as this rest of this game develops. Lindroth, though, popping it back to Alvin, who throws a curious pass to absolutely nobody.
Yeah, Tim has a look around over his shoulders, and that couldn't have been for me. Well, I think it was, but it got away, and that's how they go. One gets away, and Yaka with another chance to go the full length of the field, though. A chance, but as long as a distance to go as comes in this game, as Binard picks up the disc.
Well, Babiquian trying to make herself available. There's a big poach off in the lane, stifling from Alvin. That was going to be run down. Oh, not quite, though. Gets swallowed up by the sand monster, does Binard, and an easy pop straight away. Easy, quick offense. Yeah, Alvin with the goal.
Happened so quick, it almost got past my vision there. But yeah, the Yaka turnover came all too quick, and E6, as they've been doing all game long, just making them pay. There is no space for error here. Meunier, that throw just too far behind and right into the hands of Stina Tim.
Absolutely, and a quick pass in from Sandra Lindqvist to just sandwich that one and get this to the first match point for E6, coming out on defense. But that was some really quick work from E6. I really do like that little poach out into the open lane when you're stuck on the sideline. Sort of, good early movement from Yaka, but intelligent defense, sort of turning the screws now are E6, this Gothenburg side. Well kept in the centre pitch there for RB. Maybe looking around. Again, we see that big poach off of the hand, that now sort of seeing it, Delaunay, who is having a great game in terms of distributing. Very few throwing errors. Lakai now. Big one, trying to hit the deep space. Chinina underneath it. That woman can read a disc.
Yeah, she's got no problem with the reading there. That was a good battle. Well done to take the body out, command that space, and even more impressive to make sure like the two-hand crab catch on that. There was, you know, when it's over your head like that, you can't get the safest catch in the game, which is the pancake or the alligator catch, but to get the two-hand crab catch with number 13 all over her on her back, that's a win on her back. Well done by Chinina. She's been having a great season of being the deep presence for Yaka and shows her prowess there in the face of some good defense. A good battle, but that one won by the Yaka 89 shirt.
Indeed, and Alvin is a difficult player to best. She's got 4 European gold medals. So a very talented defender who's been playing for quite a while, since 95, I believe. Says, I was a wee burn back in those days. Oftentimes I have to commentate on people who make me feel very old, but love a bit of E6 making me feel really young.
Ain't that the way? They're practically a master's program, but they are the defending champs and looking very strong here.
Anderson with a lovely flick that's going to just sit perfectly on the curve, and there we go, all wrapped up at the end of this game. Another one in the bank. Not a break this time, but all that work done in the first half. Stefan, that was not quite the thriller we expected, but it had some spills to enjoy.
Yeah, I think we gave the advantage right at the gates to E6. They were probably the team that was going to get away with this, but we were expecting a bit more based on the way the pool was shaping up over the course of yesterday, based on Yaka being here on French sand, improving over the course of the day yesterday, but E6 just gave them nothing. And it all came from those very first 5 points of the game. Even though Yaka recovered, found a way to trade throughout the middle portion of that game, they were just in way too deep of a hole to ever really recover from that deficit.
Well, and as we live update our standings, indeed, E6 now sat at the top of Women's Pool A. Their goal difference so far this tournament is plus 20. With those 3 wins and, of course, that 1 loss to that very talented Bordeaux side. Are we going to see Bordeaux get themselves into the quarterfinals, though, Stefan, having taken down the top team?
It's Bordeaux is the only team that's taken down E6.
Indeed, and they currently have their 2 losses. They're sat in 5th spot as we have the live standings in Women's Pool A. So we'll have to, get yourself to the live website. We're doing fantastic job from all the volunteer scorekeepers getting ourselves in this game. But looking at the stats of this one, I think it's pretty fair to say that Yaka did not have a good day at the office.
Yeah, the 14 turnovers is the one that stands out the most there for me for Yaka. No matter what they were doing, whether they were shooting deep, whether they were trying to run the unders, whether they were trying to cycle through their handlers, they were just off a step. They could not put it together. And, I would imagine 7, 8 of those turnovers were in the first 5 points, maybe even a few more. But they never could not only recover from the deficit they put themselves into, but really find a way to smooth out their offense and start running efficiently. That nature of giving up the turnovers just hung around with them and stuck to them all game long.
Absolutely, and the defensive adjustments, of all the 4 clean breaks that E6 were able to get in this game, 3 of them came in that 5-0 deficit, and then towards the end it was a case of Yaka winning the disc back off of their opponents. So if they meet again later on in this championship, then I think we could see a very different game. But we are going to be bringing you some fabulous mixed action coming up next for you. We have Discolaris from Spain versus Ufa of Portugal. So that's going to be quite the spicy one to watch. We love those Portuguese and Spanish teams out here on the sand in Royan. For myself, Hannah Penderbury, for Stefan Pazzo, for all of our hard-working ULTI.TV crew under the sun in France. We will see you on the other side.
the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships 2024. Whether on the sands or watching the action from your screen, WBUCC 2024 is a tournament not to be missed.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.